Hey everybody, it is Mike Freeland. It is 7:31. Oops, I'm wrong. It is 12:20 a.m. on 7:31 or early Sunday morning here on the East Coast. Um, Took me a minute to get this video out. I thought I was going to have it out a couple days earlier, but I wanted to make sure that I had everything together so that I can present it to you guys and make it as simple as I possibly can, but that you will be able to see the full benefit. Now, just recently, with the last few weeks, I started trading on the NAS100. And I'm going to be really, really honest with you with the success that I've been having with the NAS100 and the strategies that I'm going to show you guys in this setup. I may not trade anything else but NAS during the New York session, and this is just crazy how this works and how accurate it is. So before we get started, just as a disclaimer, I am not a financial advisor. What I'm showing is for entertainment purposes only. You can just look at it, do your own due diligence, own research. But I'm showing you what I have put together for me and how fantastic it is working. So the other thing is definitely, guys, don't trade with money that you cannot afford to lose. So your bill money, keep it for your bills, your grocery money, money for the house, money for the family, money that you share with your significant other, all of those things, keep it for yourself. Trade with money you can only afford to lose. So let's go ahead and get started. What I'm going to show you guys is the setup that I've done a couple weeks ago, and I'm going to walk you through my chart and everything. And this is probably going to be a little longer than my normal videos, but it's going to be well worth it. So let's go ahead and show you. We're going to show you how we set up these indicators, the chart itself, some highs and lows, and some other strategies. And we combine all of this, which may sound confusing right now, but it definitely is not, because once you set your chart up, a lot of it is just monitoring and critiquing it here and there to keep a move with the market. So the first thing I want to show you guys is I actually want to show you the kill zone first. I should have had this up front. So let me show you what the kill zone is. The kill zone is an indicator on TradingView that actually shows you this line, which is a gray line, this line, which is gold, this line here, which is red, and these are the New York session, London session, and Asian session. Right here, this actually ended this past Friday. This was actually the New York session before it closed. Okay, this was the London session following or prior to the New York session, and so forth and so on. But this was all this past Friday. All right, how do you get this? How do you get this indicator? Well, you want to go up to indicators, and I've showed this before. You want to type in kill zone, and you want the kill zone that's set up by this person here, Oscar VS. Okay, that's the kill zone you want. Go ahead and save it. And once you do that, it will populate and you will have the sessions on your chart, so you'll know when for this particular deal. And this, what I'm showing you, only works for NAS100. So you'll know when the New York session starts with NAS, okay? That's the kill zone. All right, now we're going to show you guys the 5 indicators. Okay, don't get scared when I say 5 indicators, because 3 of them are actually for monitoring, and I've already showed them before, but I'm going to show you again. These are the 3 indicators. This is a day trading indicator. They are all to go on your MT4. As you can see, all of the candles are the same candles. Well, what makes these three indicators so great is that I can monitor the movement without having to draw a whole bunch of trend lines and all of those things. And I can just, I can do it if I want. It's kind of optional with whether or not I want to do it, because this first um, indicator shows you when the market is going down and when it's going up. All right, keep in mind that, like for example, right here, which was Friday, the candles, it appears that the candles are still going up, but you see this is showing that it's going down. And that's because even though the candles are going up, they're going back and forth until it gets a good confirmation that it's going to be a good uptrend. I normally don't even move until I see these little beginning stages of what's going to be an up or down trend. And then I get in a trade after that and take it for a ride. A side note is, and you'll see here, is that the NAS has a tendency, because of what it is, the NAS100 has a tendency to always be in a buy position. Now, of course, it does, as you can see here, do sells, but to me, they're like setups to go back into a buy mode. Okay, so I'm not saying that you necessarily should look for only buys, but I'm saying I'm more comfortable with trading when it's in an uptrend and it's doing buys. And even though I've made more money, I've made just as much money with the sell, I like more the buys because I just know that's the way NAS moves. All right, so that's what this one is for. This particular indicator here, I pretty much only use it for two small things, or monitor it for two small things. Number one, it shows each particular time frame, and it shows whether it's a strong up or down trend, as well as whether or not they're weak. So that is good. These are good to know when you're deciding whether or not you want to get into a trade, which way you should go. Again, I usually follow the uptrend, but I have gotten in with downtrends. You'll see here the arrow, it gives you an arrow, and you can see buy here. And as you can see here, if you would have taken a buy here based on this indicator, you'd have rolled this all the way up. Okay, now I don't necessarily take the buy because it says here to take the buy. I do other things, but I use these, again, like I say, as a visual monitor. Now, the third one here is a breakout indicator, and as you can see, you see blue arrows, and you see the support and resistance. I don't have to draw support and resistance. This one gives it for you, gives it to you, and it shows when the candles are in preparation to break out. Okay, so these three indicators here, once you put them on your MT4, they are really just to monitor and watch the market. Okay, it gives you a good idea of the way the market is going. Okay, fair enough. So when I pull this up, when I do my trades in the morning New York session, this is really just a monitor to make sure that everything is going in the direction that I want it to go. Okay, so those are three of the indicators. Now, the other two, you actually get off of your trading view as well. And the other, well, actually the other one is an order block. Let me show you that. Okay, the order block looks like this. I don't have it on, but I'm putting it on right now. There's your order block, but let me show you. I want to cut it off because I don't want to confuse you guys right now. But when you go to the order blocks, you want to get this particular one. Says order block finder, even though it says experimental, and it's by this person here. Okay, so you want the order block and the kill zone. All right, once you get that, as I showed you, and I'm going to bring it back up later, but when you get that and you use the order block, it's going to help you out along with everything else. All right, so I showed you the indicators, the three that you monitor, the kill indicator, kill zone indicator, and the order block. Now, let's show you the marking, the chart. This right here came, these little blue broken lines, and it's technically, show you which one it is. It's the horizontal line. Okay, I was playing around with this, and I was noticing something that dealt with pullbacks or whatever with the NAS. I noticed that, whoops, let me get that over there. I noticed that at certain times in the NAS trading with the movement of the candles, that they tend to go and bounce off of certain areas at certain, doing whether they're buys or sells. So what I noticed was, and I noticed this on the 4 hour, this is showing the 5 minute because this is where I really trade, but I set this up on the 4 hour. So let me go over to the 4 hour for you. Of course, it's going to be really crazy looking because everything, but let me open it up. Okay, so I set this up on the 4 hour, and here's the very first one that I did. Okay, and the cool part about this, or what you have to remember, is you have to set these up on an even deal in the market. So this is 121.00.00. That's where I set this up. And this was based on the time that I started testing this or started realizing this and wanted to check it out. What I noticed was the candles or the movement of the candles play around at different pip times or different pip, I should say, calculations. So for example, between this line and this line, well, the space between every line is approximately 125 pips. Okay, so what I do is I went and I started from the even number. Okay, and I just went in and clicked and did roughly, like this is right at about 123 or maybe a little bit, right about 125. I put the line here. Then I went from there and I did another close to 125, 125, all the way up. And then even as the market went past those, I would just add more. Okay, but the increments are 125. As you can see, I've done quite a few so far. Now, after I set that up on the 4 hour chart, I went back to the 5 minute chart so that I can see, so I can see how this thing really works for me. Okay, so let me, bear with me a second. Let me get it right so you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. Okay, so here's what I want you guys to take a look at. Don't worry about this right now. We're going to get to it. As you can see, the market closed here on this past Friday. You see it played off and went back down. But check this out. From here all the way down to here, it played around a little bit before it shot up. Here, it broke below, which I consider a reset. Remember, I said the market, it will do a pullback or what have you, but I call them resets, and it did, and then it shot through. Okay, it played around a little bit here, before, when it got up here, it played around a little bit. There's some movement, came down, went on up. All right, same thing you'll see. Now, sometimes it'll just play in between. That's nothing that you or I can, critique, monitor, really do anything about. It's just the way the market moves. But if you keep looking, and especially when it's not in, I guess I should have said this a little earlier, the NAS100 does a lot of movement during the New York session. And as you can see here in the London session, it played around a little more. Didn't do too much moving, but it did play around that line. But as you got over here, it dropped. So with the session, you could have gotten in right when it got over here, and I'll explain why in a few minutes, and went down and then begin to play with the upswing. Again, here in the Tokyo session, which I don't trade it in, but as you can see, it played around the line. Now check it out. When it got back to the New York session, look at what it did. Went down, played around a little bit, boom, took off, started going up. Now the cool part about this, as you can see, up, 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 up. The cool part about this, guys, is that if you got in on one of these based on the move and you took it all the way up to the next before you got out, you could ride this for approximately 125 pips or so. All right, that's what's really one thing that's cool about this. Now, if I keep moving, and this is going to be long, but if I take it you all the way back to when I started this, just to give you an idea, I'm going to shrink it up. This was the very first line. If you watch, if I take you all, and I'm going to do it, I'm not going to do stuff real fast or whatever. I want you guys to see this. If you take it back all the way to when I started this, I started testing this. All right. I literally started this. You can see I started it about here. Although the lines go all the way back, I started it about here. It came in, it came down. This is when I really noticed it. It came down, started playing around, and boom, went up. Okay? It stayed in there, stayed in the middle. I wouldn't be trading now. This is Tokyo session, stayed in the middle. London session over midnight here for me. Boom, went up, started in the New York session. Okay? Went up, played around, back in the London session. As you can see the pattern, played around in the, played around in the Asian session, played around in the London session. Boom, movement started in the New York session. Look at this. Let me show you continue. Played around in the Asian market, London, boom, New York. Started traveling up again. And think about it, guys, even though it played around in here, when it finally broke through and went up, this is 125 pips. Guys, 125. All right, until we got to the stop. All right, now these two lines here were, at the time that I drew them, they were the high and the low of that particular time. But as you can see, and I don't have to go all the way back for this, as you can see, it broke way above the high. All right, so all I have to do, I will leave these here, because if this comes back down, I can guarantee you it will play around this high and this low should it come back down that far. But what I'm going to do is come Monday, or probably Sunday, not Monday, Sunday, I will probably go ahead and mark this as the high, the most recent high. And that will be that. So this is why I've done this. And as I just showed you guys, this is amazing. It almost takes the guesswork out of trading the NAS, and then adding the other indicators to monitor just to watch what's going on. It's just crazy. Now, let me share with you this. Okay, here's the next phase I want to share with you. And if you're not getting this, there I had the high and low. If you're not getting this, all I say is just go back and look at it again. Now let me show you supply and demand issue. This is my supply and demand mark. If you know anything about supply and demand, most people say this is when you're trading smart money or trading with the bank. The supply and demand usually comes when the market, you have two candles that start a reverse. And I'm going to show you again how easy it is, if you don't know how easy it is to locate these. What happened is, after the first red candle, actually it starts with the green candle. And then After the first red candle started, that next candle, I put my supply and demand on this candle. Okay, well, as you see what happens with the supply and demand, what you're going to do is wait and see if the candle is set up to go through and go down. You're going to see if it's going to go up. Keep in mind that most of the time, NAS goes up. So in this case, it did hit, went up, touched, and it went on up to the next, which closed out Friday. But here you can see it came down, it went through. You could have got some pips in here, but it came back, and instead of going up, it came on down, reset itself, and boom. Okay, so the supply and demand comes, and I'm going to show you a really easy way. You might be saying right now, well, Michael, how do I know exactly what candle to mark off as a supply and demand? All right, I'm going to show you how, and the reason I'm going to show you how is your supply and demand also uses the same pretty much candles as an order block. So let me take you to the order block. Order blocks, you want to go to your indicator. You want to do your order block that I showed you, this one here. Okay, that's the one you want. And then what you want to do, when you put it on your system, you don't have, the only thing you got to change, you do have to change something here. When I go into settings, this will come up as 5, the relevant period. Bring it down to 3 because when you have it at 5, it's going to have way more order blocks than you want. 3 is pretty comfortable. Okay? Now, let me show you what I meant, how this helps you out. Here's your order block. Notice that the order block started on the candle. In this case, the order block started on the candle that I did my supply and demand. Well, I guess I should do here. Okay, either or. Now, the cool part about these order blocks is that they usually show the sign, usually that things may be getting ready to reverse or it's going to be going in a certain direction. Let me take this off real quick for you. See, I started with this was the supply and demand right here, but it's also the order block. Okay, now how do I determine the order block? In most cases, an order block forms, this order block will form, put it back on. This order block will form on a candle when you get to about the 3rd or 4th candle. Okay, then this order block will pop up. So here, 1, 2, 3, 4, this will pop up. I've seen sometimes where it popped up at 2 candles, but most of the time it's between 3 and 4 candles. Now, most people will say, well, 4 candles down, I should have been in the trade. Why I can't get into the trade before that? Technically, you can, and this comes with practice. This here is another candle strategy that's called tweezer tops and bottoms. Okay, this is something, the easiest way to show you a tweezer top and bottom is right here. It's usually when the candles end relatively close together. They end where there's really a very little break or no break between the red candle and the green candle. Up here you can see it's the same way. There are some that'll get a little closer, like the super perfect one would be when they're definitely super close together. But what you can see, like I'm trying to show you an example one. Let me take this off real quick. Okay, it's usually, and it's a red candle with a blue candle, like right here. This is a green and then a red. Boom. If I put on the order block, whoops, I'm sorry, I took off the kill zone. If I put on the order block, it actually started here, but it went up. Here's another one, your order block, it went, your order block right here, and then I put here. When your order block forms and the the candle is actually a Twitter or a when it's actually a tweezer candle, the two candles are tweezers. Like this here, for example, see how there's not that much difference in the wicks. Okay, when it's like that and it's the tweezer candles, you can actually get in based on these wicks. You can get in there. Okay, so the order block, if you're waiting on the order block, you got to wait 4 candles down for the order block to form. If you have 2 candles like this that are what we call tweezer tops, because it's at the top of the candle, you can get in on the very next candle. If they're tweezer bottoms, let's say like this, although this is a little more, when you get more experience, you'll be able to detect. But when you can get a tweezer bottom, you can actually go in and go up. Okay, tweezer tops, you want to make a trade coming down. Tweezer bottoms, you want to go up. You want to go up. And if that confuses you a little bit, just go back and look at it again. But once you add on your order blocks, that helps out a whole lot. Just keep in mind that if an order block shows up, it's not going to show up until your candles get to about the 3rd or 4th candle. Okay, but now if you have the order blocks off and you're watching the candles and you get the tops or the bottoms, then you can go right after those 2 candles. Hope I'm not confusing you on that. If I am, just let me know. And if I need to do a one-on-one with you on that, I will. But that's what the tweezer tops and bottoms are. And maybe if I do another video for the tweezers, I will go ahead and just put a diagram so that you guys can see it. But it's not hard. It's just a matter of looking at the 2 candles and just taking off the order block. If that's what you're going to go by, take off the order block like right here and you can see it. Okay, sometimes they're as even as they could possibly be, and then sometimes they're not. Like right here is pretty even, but usually to go down in most cases when you're doing tops, it should be the red candle and then the green candle. If you're doing bottoms, it would be the opposite way. But that's not, it's not hard to, it's definitely not hard. I use it, but most of the time I definitely use it, but a lot of the times I'll have my order blocks on. And at least even if I have my order blocks on and you see the order block form pop up, you can go back if you want and verify the tweeter tops and bottoms if you want to as well. However you decide you want to do it, you do it. So this is the setup, guys. This is the setup. Beautiful setup. And with the marking of the chart, with the 125 pip spacing mark and everything else that goes on, man, I mean, you can almost get into a trade and let it ride. Now, the next part of this is awesome. Okay, this is like the sauce, the gravy on a good meal. All right, and what it is actually how to trade with the NASDAQ news, the NAS100 news. Okay, it's not long, but it's just a couple of little things that you need to do. First of all, we know what the NAS is. It's the top 100 companies, I guess you want to say, out of the U.S. And what I watch and what most people I have learned watch are about 7 of those top companies. So the first thing you want to do is download, I don't know why I have this backwards, but download CNBC app on your phone. Okay, that's the first thing you want to do. Once you do that, You want to set up your watch list. It's all free. And you can create and name your watch list whatever you want to name it. Okay, it gives you that option to do that. Okay, once you set that up, what you want to do is you want to go back and you want to put them in this order. There's a great reason for this. You want to put them in this order: Tesla, Amazon, Apple, Facebook, or Meta now, Netflix, Google, Microsoft. Okay, these companies pretty much control the movement, all right, of the NAS. All right, and out of these companies, Tesla, Amazon, and Apple really run things. Okay, they run things. So, how do you use this to trade? And I want you guys to listen to me carefully because I didn't make a slide on this, but it's easy to understand. Okay, Tesla overrides everything. Okay, so let's say, for example, if Tesla is saying buy, Amazon is saying buy, if everybody's saying buy, you would buy. And in this app, it's going to show red next to each, on the left hand side of each name, and it's going to show green, just like if you were trading. The red simplifies sells, the green simplifies buys. So if by Amazon, if by all of these particular companies, if it's green, you will buy, period. Okay? If they're all red, you would sell. Okay? Now, if Tesla and Amazon and Apple are red or green and the other ones are the exact opposite, you want to go with these. Okay? If Tesla and Amazon, rewind this if you need. If Tesla and Amazon is red and Apple is green, you want to go with Tesla and Amazon. If Tesla is green, meaning to buy, Amazon, Apple, red, everything else red, you want to go with Tesla. Tesla controls the board. These two here work in conjunction with them when they're all the same. But if Tesla, whatever Tesla is, if these are the opposite, if everybody else is the opposite, and Tesla is saying red and everybody else is saying green, sell with Tesla. If Tesla is saying green and everybody else is red, buy with Tesla. Very, very, very important because Tesla is pretty much the top dog in the NAS100. Okay, Tesla is the top dog, but Tesla, Amazon, and Apple work in conjunction to move the market when everybody else may say one thing and these three say the same thing, that's fine. But if Tesla is solo by itself and Amazon and Apple are saying to do something else, go with Tesla. Plain and simple. This is the way you would do this. So if Tesla was saying buy, let's say for example, if Tesla was saying buy, everything else was saying something different, I would go with Tesla. And as you can see, I did check this, and at the end of Trading Friday, Tesla was in a buy mode. You see everything, it went all the way up, it came down a little, and then it was getting back into a buy mode because Tesla was saying buy. Okay, again, the supply and demand, I discussed that, but as you can see from the time, let me squeeze this in a little bit so you can see it. But from the time this went through and it reset itself here to go up, and then it broke the supply and demand line, as well as the 125 pip mark, okay? And as you can see, towards the end of the day, it rolled straight up and it hit the 125, then it came back down. If you don't really need, you can get 80 pips, guys. You can get 50 pips. You know, a lot of times people want, or points, I should say, I keep saying pips, it's a little bit different, but you can get that much and really clean house. All right. But this is showing you that you have the opportunity, if you want to ride, that far, and I've shown you how it works. That it plays around on these 125 pip point lines. Okay, so what I suggest, guys, I'm getting ready to conclude because it is I've been almost 40 minutes. Go back and rewatch this. Set your charts up, guys. Set your chart up based on these descriptions. Okay, the indicators, the kill zone, marking the 25 pip spacing. Don't forget you need to start where it's even. Okay, go back and check the video out if you don't remember what I'm actually saying. Include your highest and your lowest highs of that particular day. Okay, and then as the market moves, you can add your supply and demand and your order blocks. They add as additional visuals, guys. Once you understand how to use the order blocks, once you understand how to use supply and demand, they will add as more visuals to keep you moving in between, if you will, in between the 125 pip mark. So that's pretty much it, guys. I hope this video helps you out when it comes to NAS. Now, this is NAS only. I don't do this on any other pair. And at the rate of success that I've been having with this, I can do this on NAS and trade NAS for the day. And depending on how the market is going, maybe half the day, maybe a quarter of the day, and be done for the day. So you guys go ahead and set your chart up like this. If you have questions, I always leave my real cell phone in the description so you can text me with your questions. I'm not saying email and all that because people check their text messages before they check their emails, and I want to be able to get right back to you with answers. If you want the indicators that I shared here, guys, let me know. There is a cost for them, but trust and believe me, I don't charge much at all for anything that I do because I'm about helping people, but also I feel I should be compensated for my time, for some time. So if you want those, let me know that as well. I'm telling you guys, I just showed it to you. Go back and watch the video again. This here, you've seen the moves. It's been pretty much on the upswing the whole way. When it actually goes into a sell mode, I say that it's, we call it pullbacks or whatever. But for me, it just seems like it resets itself to go back into the buy mode. All right, like we can say that for here now. And I know probably Sunday evening is probably going to go right on up. So therefore, I'll be drawing. Probably Sunday, I'll be adding more lines to keep it rising. Now, also, finally, if it hits and it really starts to drop, you can use these lines if you want to get in on sells as well. You can, but as you can see, most of the time they don't go back that far. They play around in the middle and then shoot back up. That is why the supply and demand markings are so great, and the order blocks are so great. All right, so with that, this is Mike Freeland. I'm out of here. You guys take care. Have a fantastic Sunday, and we'll see you in the next video.